Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start this meeting momentarily. We just need to wait for the lobby to be cleared for a moment, so just give us a moment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I apologize on that. Okay. At this moment, we request that all electronic devices be turned off and put in silent mode. Also, please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentation portions of this meeting. Board member Patrica will be participating via Zoom. Pursuant to board policy 01641, she is eligible to vote on items during the action meeting tonight. I am pleased to welcome you to the January 23rd, 2024 school board meeting. The time is 6:03 p.m. and this meeting is called to order. Prior to this evening's meeting, we've been enjoying music performed by the students from Cypress Lake Guitar Ensemble. This select group of music students is under the direction of Kayla Lisa. This group is the only high school guitar ensemble in the district. The guitar ensemble is a mix of students who have played for 1 to 6 years that all come together to work towards a common goal. They are proud of being able to represent Lee County this evening and showcase their skills for you. You'll be able to hear them during all the Cypress Lake High Strings concerts. Please give the group another round of applause. One moment. Are we? Okay, we'll go ahead with your last song. Sorry about that.
Awesome.
Great job, everyone. That was amazing. We appreciate it. We'll now take a brief pause to clear the performance area. Excuse me. Real quick, I wanted to ask on the record, Sergeant at Arms, has the front lobby been attended to and the doors open for public access? Thank you, Chief. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your patience as well tonight. It's truly appreciated. So at this moment, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential and the district's vision to be a world-class school system. Okay. At this point, we're going to go to the approval of the agenda. This evening's agenda includes invocation, presentation of colors and pledge of allegiance, recognitions, public comment, consent action items, which include 3 items under board office, 5 items under academic services, 3 items under business services, 2 items under human resources, 10 items under operations. We will recess for Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation, 1 item under public hearings, and 4 items under good of the order or other business. So, board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Ms. Jordan?
I move to adopt the agenda as written.
We have a second?
I second.
Okay, moved by Ms. Jordan, seconded by Ms. Langford Fleming. Please record your vote. Motion carries 7-0. As is the custom of the board, Mr. Armour Persons will lead us in the invocation. The invocation is intended for the benefit of school board members as they proceed with their work this evening. It is not directed at the audience. Those who deliver the invocation may reference their religious faith as you might yours when offering prayer. We wish to emphasize, however, that members of all religious faiths are welcome, not only these meetings, but in our community as a whole. Staff and members of the audience are welcome to pray or not to pray. After the prayer, Mrs. Melissa Juvenelli will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Mr. Persons, please lead us in the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, as we gather here today for this school board meeting, we seek your guidance, your wisdom, and your blessings. Grant us the strength to make decisions that prioritize the well-being and education of our students. Help us listen attentively to the needs and concerns of the parents, of the teachers, and of the community, making choices that reflect our shared commitment to education. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mrs. Juvenelli, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Great. Introducing the cadet who is presenting the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Lieutenant Colonel Derek Carlson, the senior armory instructor at Estero High School. Lieutenant Colonel Carlson served 21 years in the Army in numerous assignments as a field artillery and military intelligence officer. His last assignment on active duty was serving as the Professor of Military Science of Morehead State University and the University of Pikeville in Kentucky. Lieutenant Colonel Carlson has a doctorate in education and is currently in his fourth year as a JRTC instructor in the district. Thank you for serving our country, and thank you for serving our students in Lee County. Thank you.
Thank you. Presenting to national colors tonight is Cadet Sergeant Major Jose Paz. Cadet Paz is a member of the Spanish Honor Society and the Art Honor Society, and is part of the AP and IB program, which maintains a 3.85 GPA. Cadet Paz has participated for the last 3 years with the JRTC program and has attended many parades, community service projects, service learning, and has accumulated over 180s of volunteer service hours. Cadet Paz is a Cadet Sergeant Major for the Fort Myers High School JRTC Greenway Battalion. Cadet Paz is actively involved in the JRTC Leadership Academic Bowl, the drone team, and serves as the commander for the Raider team. Cadet Paz's goals after high school is to attend the United States Military Academy and become an infantry officer. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated. What? What? Yeah, we still have. Okay. Before I proceed, I just want to double check that Board Member Patrica can hear us right now. And
I can, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry about that. This evening's student representative is Shenard Williams. Welcome. Shenard is an 11th grade student at Fort Myers High. He is in the IB program and actively participates in many extracurricular activities. Shenard has been elected as the sophomore class president and is the current junior class president. Since middle school, Shenard has played the trombone and participates in the Green Wave Marching Band, holding the position of band captain for the last 2 years. After graduation, he hopes to attend the University of Florida. Shenard plans to major in civil engineering. Subsequently, he aims to pursue a law degree. Please welcome Shenard. Now, Mr. Williams, we're going to move on to recognitions, and can you please read those?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Today we have a few recognitions. We have the 34th Annual Holiday Greeting Card Celebration recognition presented by Board Chair Samuel Fisher. We have the Island Coast High School Raider Team recognition presented by Board Member Melissa Giovanelli. We have the 2023-2024 School District of Lee County Principal of the Year recognition presented by Board Member Debbie Jordan. We have the 2023-2024 School District of Lee County Assistant Principal of the Year recognition presented by Board Member Armor Persons. We have the 2023-2024 School-Related Employee of the Year recognition presented by Board Vice Chair Jada Langford Fleming. And we have the final one, the 2023-2024 School District of Lee County Teacher of the Year recognition presented by Board Member Kathleen Morgan. Board members, please join me in the pit for recognitions.
Okay, up first is, joining me at the lectern is the 34th Annual Holiday Greeting Card Celebration winner. So, Dr. Tom Olszewski, if you could join me, sir. Thank you. Joining me at the lectern is Dr. Tom Olszewski, our Coordinator of Fine and Performing Arts. In 1990, the superintendent of Lee County Schools, Dr. James Adams, requested high school student artwork to highlight in the district's holiday brochure. We continue to highlight this tradition and showcase the artistic talents of our K-12 art students. Each year, we request artwork from elementary, middle, or high school students following a 3-year rotational cycle. This year's entries were submitted from our high school programs. Elementary, sorry, there was a typo in here. Submitted entries were voted upon by district staff and winners and are displayed in our lobby throughout the holiday season. This year's winners have also received gallery space at the Sidney Byrne Davis Art Center to showcase their artwork. When your name is called, please come up to receive your certificate and join the board members and superintendent in pit for photos. So first up is Nina David from Allen Park Elementary School with art teacher Jennifer Campari and Principal Booth. Okay. Next up is Liam Palladino from Allen Park Elementary School, again with Ms. Campari and Principal Booth. Next up, Next up is Riley Brown from Bayshore Elementary with art teacher James Lefko and Principal Osman. Okay, next up is Ashley Pickersgill from Gateway Elementary School with art teacher Jesse Smith, as well as Principal Sherry Gibson. Okay, next up is Ella Gibson from Orangewood Elementary School with art teacher Carla Gavin and Principal Browder. Okay, next up is Trevor Price from Patriot Elementary School with art teacher Angela Johnson and Principal Feliciano. Okay, next up is Yenna Crickren from River Hall Elementary School with art teacher Angel Elza and Principal Polklis. And last but not least is Miranda Hughes from Trafalgar Elementary School with art teacher Helen Garcia Valdez and Principal Murphy.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to take one giant photo. If you want to reach your way to it.
That's your picture.
Joining me at the lectern tonight is JRTC Senior Army Instructors Lieutenant Colonel Mario Johnson, congratulations to Island Coast School Raider Team on becoming the 2023-2024 Zone, District, and State Raider Champion. When your name is called, please come up and receive your certificate and join the board members and superintendent in the pit for the photos. The Raider program at Island Coast High School features over 40 Raiders, and Raider Commander Cadet Jay Adams leads the unit. Members of this year's team includes Sean Williams, Bertine Vincent, Landon Unger, Antonio Snyder, Drazen Fortunic, Jefferson Salazar, Sebastian Joseph, Marcelo Proenza, Dominic Sanford, Charles Peterson, and Lucky, I'm going to try this last name. Dong. Thank you. The JRTC Raider program is not only physically demanding, but mentally tough and requires critical thinking. Students learn soft skills, and they will help carry them through life after high school, such as attention to detail, self-control, discipline, focus, and teamwork. The school board and superintendent are very pleased to recognize the Island Coast High School Raider team under the direction of JRTC Senior Army instructors Lieutenant Colonel Mario Johnson and Captain Samuel Fletcher for their success as zone, district, and state Raider champions. Congratulations.
Kids are taller than the board. We may have to put the board in the front. Ms. Giovanelli. There you go. Take it. State teams. Thank you. I have to walk away.
No, Gator Chunk. Gator Chunk, I got it. Okay, congratulations, Island Coast. I would like to invite Mrs. Lynn Harrell, Executive Director of Leadership and Professional Development, to please join me at the lectern. Join me. The School District of Lee County is proud to announce the formal recognition of the 2024 Principal of the Year. Students, parents, and district staff were invited to nominate an outstanding principal who demonstrated superior ability to spearhead initiatives to increase student achievement, promote safe learning environments, and establish partnerships with schools and community members. Through the collaborative effort of district administrators and community members, a committee was created to review the written applications and select the finalists. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize the 2024 Teacher of the Year, Alex Dzansky. What? The principal. Did I say principal? You said teacher. Oh, let me rephrase. Hold up, I am so sorry. Oh, because it says teacher, I'm reading. Okay, I can read. To recognize, rewind, the principal of the year, Alex Dzansky, principal at Harns Marsh Middle School. We congratulate Dr. Dzansky with his commitment to our students and our districts. Congratulations, and I apologize, Alex. It says teacher. I love you. Don't you want to picture? Oh my God. Dzansky.
The School District of Lee County is proud to announce the formal recognition of the 2024 Assistant Principal of the Year. Students, parents, and district staff were invited to nominate an outstanding assistant principal who demonstrated superior ability to utilize teamwork, leadership skills to increase student performance, promote safe learning environments, and establish partnerships with parents and community members. Through a collaborative effort of district administrators and community members, a committee was created to review the written applications and select the finalists. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize the 2024 Assistant Principal of the Year, Kristen Stevens, Assistant Principal at East Lee County High School. We congratulate Mrs. Stevens on her commitment to our students and the district. Again, congratulations.
The School District of Lee County is proud to announce the formal recognition of the 2024 School-Related Employee of the Year. Students, parents, and district staff were invited to nominate an outstanding teacher that demonstrated exceptional skill and dedication in the performance of their jobs. Through a collaborative effort of the Support Personnel Association of Lee County, district administrators, and community members, a committee was created to review the written applications and select the finalists. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize the 2024 Support Person of the Year. Is that where we're at? Yes. Okay, Ms. Jordan was right. Ms. Nora Avaliz, Instructional Support Person at Calusa Middle School. She here? Awesome. Let me open this for you. Thank you. That could be visual. Thank you so much. You're welcome. We congratulate Ms. Avaliz for her commitment to our students and to this district. Congratulations again.
All right. The School District of Lee County is proud to announce the formal recognition of the 2024 Teacher of the Year. Students, parents, and district staff are invited to nominate an outstanding teacher who demonstrated superior ability to foster excellence in education and contributed to the continuous improvement of student learning, professional growth, and the school environment. Through a collaborative effort of the Teachers Association of Lee County, district administrators, community members, a committee was created to review the written applications and select the finalists to be interviewed. I'm just going to say one thing. When she received her reward, she proceeded to give an instruction that I had never seen before in her classroom, and it was awesome. We were all just sort of standing there going, this is why she is such an extraordinary teacher. Anyway, the school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize the 2024 Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Maria Rose, teacher at Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts School. We congratulate Mrs. Rose for her commitment to our students and our district during her 30 years of service in the school district of Lee County.
Students are here.
Our students are here.
Hi guys, thanks for coming. Yes, thanks for being here. Come on. Oh, thank you for coming. Yes, we're so glad you're here. Oh my gosh, she's so darling. That's darling.
We're going to spend a brief minute as we clear the room. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations. Okay, thank you, everyone. We're going to proceed on to item E, public comment. Ms. Dupree-Bruno, can you please address the item of public comment? Excuse me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. Please complete a public comment card and put it in the basket provided. If you need a public comment card, they are provided by our staff. The rules concerning public comment are posted in the back and will be made from the podium in the front center aisle. Please be advised that the board will not respond during public comment to remarks made by speakers. Concerns will be addressed by the superintendent or his staff as necessary, and the chair may comment as deemed appropriate at the conclusion of public comment. The superintendent or board attorney may also comment if deemed appropriate. The purpose of public comment is to provide feedback on district issues such as duties, responsibilities, decisions, and the general operation of the district. The school board is viewpoint neutral during public comment. We ask that decorum be kept and respect be shown, which is what is expected when a government agency conducts an official business. Therefore, abusive language such as cursing, insults, derogatory language levied against an individual or a class of people are prohibited. Further, personal attacks such as name-calling are prohibited. In addition, clapping, hissing, booing, or a display of temper during public comment is prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow proper decorum in the chambers will be ruled out of order by the board chair or the parliamentarian. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the microphone per Board Policy 0169.1 and may be removed from the chambers by the Sergeant at Arms. Per Board Policy 0169.1, the time per speaker is 3 if there are 20 speakers, 2 minutes if there are 30 speakers, and 1 minute if there are 31 speakers or more. The maximum time allotted for public comment is 1 hour, 60 speakers. You will find a countdown on the big screens in the front of the room. Once your time has elapsed, the microphone will automatically shut off. Please state your name when you approach the microphone. I will call your names 5 speakers at a time. Please follow staff's direction when lining up. Mr. Chairman, we have 11 speakers that wish to address the board this evening. That's 3 minutes per speaker.
Thank you. Please ensure that you have completed a public comment card to provide public comment. The card is a public record identifying those who speak and providing contact information to staff for follow-up. The cards are located with staff in the hallway. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board but did not fill out a public comment card? Please raise your hand. Okay. Seeing none, at this point, Attorney Dupree-Bruno, please proceed with public comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Will the following individuals please line up? Gwen Gittens, Madeline Stewart, Sam Stewart, Jill Pellis, Denise Eberly.
Good evening, everyone. I basically came this evening to support our Principal of the Year and our Vice Principal of the Year, since they both came from the East Zone. Don't know if you realize that. And I was going to leave, but I watched the briefing this afternoon, and I had to stand up and say something. So, however, after watching the briefing this afternoon, I had to come and say thank you for giving up on the Three Oaks project, a project that was proven not to be necessary, even though it was a waste of time and money from the beginning. I appreciate that it's done. The taxpayers of Lee County, I'm sure, appreciate your actions. Finally, I truly hope some of the money saved will be put to projects in the East Zone, firmly on the 5-year plan. Thank you for doing the right thing.
Good evening. What a fabulous meeting, and it was so great to see all those wonderful students and teachers and administrators. I'm Madeline Stewart. I'm one of the leaders of the Purple Group. We want you all to know that our nonpartisan group, not affiliated with any political party or candidate, has made a New Year's resolution to continue our advocacy work on behalf of the public schools in Lee County. We will continue to show up, stand up, and speak up for student learning, for parental rights, and for respect for professional educators. We hope that each of you has resolved to focus your time and energy on supporting the improvement of teaching and learning in our district. Legislation from the past 2 sessions in Tallahassee has had a profound negative effect on Lee and on districts across our state. Confusing bills, unfunded mandates, books removed, and lawsuits have cast a dark shadow over our schools in Florida. Teachers live in fear that if they respond to a student's personal concerns and struggles, they may lose their own license. True parental rights to make reasoned decisions for their own students are pushed aside by a small group who want to make decisions for all parents. Students are marginalized by misunderstanding and stigma. Is this any way to run an educational enterprise? Is this any way to prepare young people to become active participating members in our multi-ethnic, multicultural democracy? We, the voters, ask you, as those who are entrusted with the education of our future students, to scrutinize each of the education bills that are brought forward. Please ask yourselves, what are the implications for our schools if this becomes law? How will these requirements help our schools provide a world-class education? If you, in good conscience, as a person whose goal it is to do what is best for the education of all students, and not someone with a narrow partisan political agenda, if you think the bill will be harmful, we ask you to push back as hard as you are able. You are the leaders of our county schools. You are the leaders we have elected to represent us. If you are afraid to stand up for your convictions, how can our children?
Thank you.
I'm Sam Stewart, and I'm just proud to be here. You know, this is the 80th anniversary of D-Day and my 88th year, and so I'm very proud to be here. And I'm proud to be able to talk to you about the importance and the significance and importance of providing teachers with the resources necessary to elevate student achievement. Because we all know that the success of our students depends on the success of our teachers. We also know that not all successful teachers are born teachers. Teaching is hard work, as I'm sure Sam knows from a book I provided him a while ago. Teaching is very hard work. And so the effectiveness of educators is it's imperative. So the challenges that our students face in reaching higher levels, we want to provide them with those resources. This includes the important resources are, I got ahead of myself. The important resource includes access to professional development resources and the opportunity to observe other successful teachers. Observing teaching is a great way to learn to teach. And teachers don't get enough time to do that. They also don't get enough time to talk about how they've done and to get constructive feedback about that. So in your busy schedule, I'm just urging you to provide the resources to allow this kind of activity so that teachers can observe and learn from each other. And by providing these resources, we're not only investing in our teachers, but also in the future success of our students. Research has consistently demonstrated that when teachers are adequately supported, student achievement soars. The What Works project in Princeton, New Jersey, it's a project developed a place called Mathematica. It's an organization loaded with economists. And what they do is sift through all the research to find out where the achievement is, and then what are the factors that lead to that achievement. And more they come to the success, the effectiveness of the teachers. So I'm urging you to think about that and consider the transformative power of providing our educators with the resources they need. Let us empower them to inspire, educate, and elevate the students to new heights of achievement. Together, let us commit to providing our teachers with all these resources, support, and opportunities they deserve, thereby ensuring that every student in our district.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Will the following individuals please line up? Joanne Deschel, Ray Closen, Victoria Davenport, Marge Cox.
Good evening. My name is Jill Pellis. Lee Schools received a B rating again this year. I feel we need to do better by our children. Yet, due to our politicians in Tallahassee, we're wasting time and we're wasting money pulling books off shelves and rewriting curriculum because a few parents feel uncomfortable. I respectfully urge each of the board members to advocate for all students by personally contacting legislators to make them aware that their senseless policies are creating fear, failure, and chaos in our schools. I cast no blame on teachers or administrators. They're trying desperately to address student needs while maneuvering thoughtless new laws and fearing reprisals. Instead of focusing on teaching and learning, teachers spend costly hours and thousands of taxpayer dollars on unfunded mandates. There's a direct correlation between effective instructional classroom and learning, the resources in student learning. Yet 88,000 books pulled from classrooms last summer are still waiting to be assessed and approved. Classroom libraries provide relevant, meaningful, curriculum-based opportunities that expand learning. The more children read, the better they get at it. Put all the books back, let kids choose what they want to read, and reading achievement will improve. Student attendance is declining. Children can't learn if they're not in school, but maybe some of the absences are due to the elimination of daycare bus stops. Many parents are at work during bus times, and they have to choose between missing work or going without pay, or keeping older children home to walk the younger siblings to the stops. Instead of wasting thousands of dollars on senseless book reviews, why don't we redirect those funds to reinstate daycare stops? Maybe kids are feeling disengaged due to limitations on what teachers can and cannot discuss with them. When educators fear termination for teaching facts and addressing student needs, kids notice. They become disenfranchised, feeling unheard, unseen, and they stay home. There are lots of teacher vacancies this year. Are teachers feeling threatened? Teachers are the most important factor in student learning. We need to nurture and retain them. Distractions are the modus operandi of extremists. Their intentions are to restrict and manipulate teachers, administrators, and parents. Please tell legislators to stop the bedlam and let schools focus on teaching and learning. Thank you.
Denise Everly, Happy New Year. Here we go again. First, I just want to start off with, I have a packet here of graphs and another thing about the minutes from the Lee County School, from the Lee County Board of County Commissioners about water and sewer and all that kind of stuff. Also, there's a thing here about how many students are in Alva per the 2020 census. And then I've got here a petition for 326 opposed to the NNN High School in Alva. I speak for all of them as I do myself.
I will be giving this to you, so I hope you all look at it. I've sent you hundreds of emails. I think I'm about at the 100 mark now. So I'm here in hopes that you would agree to the alternative site at 201 Joe Boulevard for NNN High School. I emailed all you an article from Lehigh Acres Citizen dated February 2022, in which Mrs. Giovanelli is quoted in related to that property, and then reasons why it would be a better location. Ms. Giovanelli, quote in article, is as follows: I support this and a complete 50-acre parcel. It's a great location. I'm excited for Lehigh, quote unquote, Ms. Giovanelli. It is requested that the school board hold a meeting between yourselves, a workshop, and discuss this before phase 1 goes any farther. That money can be transitioned to this location. Nothing to date has been accomplished with phase 1 currently beyond the survey, and that is confirmed by Dr. Malloy. Dr. Bernier said this can be brought to a halt at any time. I think it's time before it goes any farther, especially in light that the Lee County School District budget of $2.3 billion was cut in half after you approved and voted for phase 1. As stated in previous emails and at board meetings, to build an Alva will cost an existential amount above the $140 million to build the school. It's just common sense. I mean, there's just so many issues with building there that can save the taxpayers so much money. I wish I could go on and on about this. You know, per the Commissioner Wayne, it is now double or more to build the infrastructure for sewer and water. This discussion of raising sales taxes and property taxes for infrastructure and roads and bridges. County is absent of mitigation credits needed for expansion of infrastructure projects.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand this to you.
Hand it over there, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Joanne Dinchell. I'm very proud to be a school bus driver here for Lee County. And I thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you. Earlier this year, you gave us all an 8% raise, which is awesome. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. I do have one concern with the way that it was implemented. And I'm going to read to you just 2 sentences from our contract, the Spout contract. First of all, on page 46, regular rate of pay, in parentheses, hourly rate increase. All eligible employees will receive an increase in base rate of pay, in parentheses, hourly rate of 8% effective July 1st, 2023. So again, regular rate of pay, hourly rate of pay, and regular rate of pay, hourly rate of pay, and base rate of pay are all 3 used in that sentence interchangeably. They're all the same thing, apparently. Then when we go to page 33 of our contract, overtime. All authorized work performed in excess of 40 hours in any 1 week shall be considered overtime and shall be paid at the overtime rate of 1 1/2 times the employee's regular rate of pay. Which, to me, it seems very clear that the overtime rate of pay should always be 1 1/2 times what the base rate of pay is, right? There's nothing ambiguous about that. However, our payroll department was instructed to make our pay increase on our regular rate of pay effective July the 1st, but they were instructed not to increase our overtime rate of pay until November the 16th. I have no idea where the date November the 16th came from. That's not when the contract was signed. It was after the contract was signed. But someone somewhere determined that we shouldn't get paid overtime effective on July the 1st, the same time that our base rate of pay went up. I don't understand this. I can tell you it's done a terrible thing for morale among myself and my coworkers. They don't understand it. Some people have called it stealing from us. I'm not saying that. Some people have called it dishonest. Some people have called it a dirty trick. We don't understand why it happened, and I've been told that it was the school board's decision to do this. I sincerely hope that's not true. I hope this was some kind of mistake or oversight, and you're going to do something about it, because if it wasn't, I really just don't think it was a very honorable thing to do, and I think you're sending a bad message regarding integrity within our organization and whether or not people can be trusted when we relate to one another and we deal with one another. I always feel integrity and character is very important. I don't lie to the people I work with. I try to treat everybody the way that I want to be treated, and that's all I'm asking. Thank you all for your time.
My name is Ray Clayson, and I live in North Fort Myers. My children went to Lee District schools, and I now have 5 grandchildren in Lee District schools. I'm wondering how many here assembled believe Escambia County schools did the right thing by yanking the dictionary and other reference books from their library shelves. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Of course, the joke is I can't find words to express my outrage. But actually, I did find a few words, and guess where I found them? How about incomprehensible? How about moronic? And wait, how about a word that sums up the whole book banning experience? How about censorship? Well, wait a minute. I can hear somebody saying, well, maybe the dictionary went too far, but some books do deserve to be banned. How about To Kill a Mockingbird, Lord of the Flies, Slaughterhouse-Five, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Catch-22, 1984. What do these books have in common? It's not pornography. What these books have in common is that they challenge the reader to think, to see the world and the complicated issues therein from a different perspective. You know, in 1984, I taught 1984, and my students and I never imagined the stuff George Orwell warned us about. Authoritarianism, rewriting history, book banning would be happening in our free, democratic, secular society 40 years down the road. I have to ask, when does the craziness stop? When do we stand up and say, enough? Book banning is un-American. It's not what we do in our society. We are about freedom of expression, freedom to read, not censorship disguised as parental rights. But thankfully, this is not Escambia County. Thankfully, our board has taken a more deliberate, reasoned approach to these issues. Thank you.
Will the following individuals please line up? Sergio Cruz, Dr. Shirley Chapman.
Good evening. I'm Marge Cox. I live in Bonita Springs. I'm a retired library media specialist. And I wanted to say, first of all, how wonderful it was to see the opening tonight. And as I watched the people being celebrated for being the best in their category, whatever it was, I know they also represent hundreds of others who are doing a great job too. And we have so much to be proud of in Lee County. And as the leaders, you take some of that responsibility and glory as well for getting those people in place. Yay, you. I also wanted to share tonight some reading research. I know without a doubt from the other meetings I've attended, you all believe reading is important. I don't think that's the issue. How do we support? But I wanted to give you some research, so when somebody says to you, yeah, but how much difference does it really make about books? You can respond with some facts, not just an emotional response, but some facts. Way back in 2012, ASCD published an article by Richard Allington, Every Child, Every Day. And the first thing he said was, every child needs to read something he or she chooses. Now that assumes that he or she has access to books. In 2015, the Scholastic Kids and Family Reading Report said that research shows that giving our students a say in what they read is key. Again, assuming they've got access. In 2023, the Psychological Medicine Journal said that an interesting part of the study is that the researcher not only had test results and parent reports, but brain imaging data explaining the link between early reading and better test scores and mental well-being. In 2024, School Library Journal said, reading with young children is a vocabulary building experience. It also said, research tells us that loving books is a key. To love them, they have to see them, they have to get their hands on them. And so that research, I believe, backs the fact that our school classrooms need to have books in them. I know they have worked hard to get from the thousands of books to fewer thousands of books, but that doesn't yet provide the books that our kids need to have in front of them and have easy access to, and books that they relate to that show their lives. And so I'm just here tonight to say thank you for all you've done. Thank you to the curriculum department that is working hard to get through the thousands of books that are left. But we need to encourage them to keep on keeping on. And so I want to encourage you to encourage them that we indeed need to keep the fight up to keep books in kids' hands and where they can get to them easily. Thank you for your time tonight.
Good evening. My name is Sergio Cruz, and I'm a parent, ESC, and disability advocate. I read once that real compassion requires action, and the more I advocate for policy change and for a culture shift, I feel as though sometimes truer words have never been spoken. So what is my ask? Well, I came tonight to advocate for a critical endeavor that I believe holds the key to the continued advancement of our district's mission and educational system. And that's the approval and initiation of conducting another district level best practice for inclusive education assessment, or BPI assessment for short. Currently, by statute, the district is only required to conduct the assessment at minimum every 3 years. However, are encouraged to conduct as many as needed, as the assessment is intended to operate as a living, breathing document to be monitored and maintained. While the district did conduct their assessment last spring, it is essential that we undertake this assessment once again to address potential data gaps and ensure the representation of genuine stakeholders in our decision-making processes. Data is the backbone of informed decision-making. Our previous BPI assessments have provided valuable insight, but it's crucial to acknowledge the possibility of gaps in the current data set. A renewed assessment will allow us to delve deeper, ensuring a comprehensive understanding of the strengths and areas that require improvement within our inclusive education practices. The assessment can even be conducted in only 1 day. Data alone cannot paint the full picture, though. We must also emphasize meaningful representation from genuine stakeholders, particularly parents from all 3 subclasses that are identified within the BPI assessment. Their firsthand experiences are invaluable in shaping policies that impact the lives of our students. By fostering an environment where parents feel heard and included, we strengthen the foundation of our commitment to inclusive education. Moreover, as we embark on this assessment, let us pay special attention to some of the most vulnerable students who may not be adequately looked after within our current framework. The BPI assessment should serve as a lens through which we identify and address the unique needs of these students, ensuring that our inclusive practices are not only comprehensive, but also sensitive to the diverse challenges they may face. In summary, I urge the school board and superintendent to champion this cause, the cause of inclusive education, through a renewed BPI assessment. By addressing data gaps, fostering meaningful representation, and prioritizing the needs of our most vulnerable students. We strengthen our commitment to providing a quality education that leaves no child behind. Together, let us reaffirm our dedication to the principles of inclusive education that form the bedrock of a thriving and equitable education system. I also wanted to inform that I did leave my phone number and email address, and I try to be as legible as I could for any of those board members that did show intention to want to reach out to me for maybe some of the advisory committees. So thank you for your time. You guys have a great night.
Good evening. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. Children, my name is Shirley Chapman. Children don't care what you know until they know you care. I was thinking, I've been a little sad ever since the last voting that took place, and now we're going to be electing the superintendent. That made me sad. And then after I kind of got past that, I was thinking about some of the decisions that have been made with Dr. Bernier and his top two guys that he brought in, well, lady and gentleman, and I've been very pleased with some positive things that I've seen going on at the various schools and with some of the decisions that were made as far as hiring. Now, I'm back to the same thing, and I know you're tired of hearing about it, and I'm tired of having to say it, but we do need a middle school in the Dunbar community that will service the black and brown students. So we're just going to continue to keep that on the forefront and ask if you would please consider. And I was thinking, well, where? As I rode through the community, and I said, well, it could work once Franklin Park is not across from James Stevens anymore, and it's back over in its regular place. I thought, that would be a good place, right across from James Stevens. We would love to have a middle school in our community. We need to have a middle school in our community. We would appreciate very much your cooperation, and I'm standing representing the NAACP. President called me on the way to this meeting to say, please get up and mention about needing the middle school. So that's what I've done again this time, and I'm hoping that we will eventually end up with the middle school in that Dunbar community, and we'd be most grateful. If we can help in any way, please let us know. We'll be more than willing to do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Victoria Davenport. Victoria Davenport. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, that concludes public comment.
Thank you, Attorney Debris-Bruno. Dr. Bernier and Attorney Debris-Bruno, is there anything you wish to address regarding public comment?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I believe there are a couple of things that I think we should address, and one is to thank the speakers who recognize our amazing teachers and educators. We talked a little bit about that this afternoon as our closing of the briefing, and we talked about the information that we know about teachers in the classroom is they are the #1 impactor of student achievement, followed by an effective building leader. So I thank you for recognizing their efforts and their work, because we need to do even a better job of continuing to recognize the amazing work that they do, and to some of the comments this evening specifically on their impact to a child's ability and desire to read. Clearly, the challenges of today's classroom environment are real. But recognizing the hard work of this board to be reasonable in its approach is also well-intentioned and appreciated. Lastly, I would ask Mr. Stewart to say thank you for your service. I know you were not there at D-Day, but it is important to know that this year is the 80th anniversary of that invasion and the turn of a very particular difficult history of the world. I think we should also address the bus driver that came to speak. Much like our other employees, bus drivers are vital. If you think about it, they're the first person they see every morning and the last person they see every afternoon. They can make or break a child's day just by opening the door and thinking about how they receive those individuals. I can tell you that the board has no hidden agenda with its bus drivers. I can tell you also that this is a matter of union negotiation, and we need to be careful about how we respond. But I would ask bus drivers to speak to their union leadership. We have kept open dialogue on a monthly basis with our SPALC union, and we continue to address this issue of overtime. 8% was the offer put on the table for our bus drivers. That 8% could have been utilized in the various ways. When the union bargained, they bargained an 8% general salary increase. There was no discussion at the time of overtime, but we will reopen in March and we will have some conversations. I don't know, just to correct an issue, and I will get additional information, I don't know of any November 16th date that bus driver mentioned regarding overtime becoming part of the payroll process. I will confirm that with the Budget and Finance and Payroll Department tomorrow and get back to you via that opportunity. As for Triple N, I look forward to, Mrs. Eberly, always to the information that you provide us. I think it's incredibly important. Mr. Cruz, we will continue our dialogues both with me personally and with my Deputy Superintendent. And if I believe I'm not leaving anybody out, I would like to also thank Dr. Chapman for her testimony again regarding the middle school in the Dunbar community. We have just recently approved a 10-year plan, but with the board's effort and some other examination, we can continue to look and bring forward to a workshop if that's the board's pleasure. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for being able to respond to the comments this evening.
Welcome. Attorney DeBrie Bruno.
I have no comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ranier, for addressing that. Again, as always, I truly want to thank everyone, and I know this board appreciates everyone that comes out and speaks, whether it's once, whether it's 20 times, we appreciate it. That's what we're here to do. So, Dr. Chapman, thank you. Ms. Eberl, thank you. So we truly mean that. It's important. I also want to take a point of personal privilege in regards to Ms. Dinsel, I believe, the school bus driver. I know Dr. Bernier went into the specifics, but I do want you to know, thank you for speaking up. We're listening, and that's important. That's part of that process. So I want to continue encouraging our district to do that. So I want to thank you for doing that. So, okay. At this point, now we're going to move on to item N, which is approval of action items under consent. The documentation for action items listed under consent is made available to board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We're expected to review all the material, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items also have been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the action agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business or table items portion of the agenda? We will start with Mrs. Juvenelli.
I have none, thank you.
Ms. Patrica.
No, thank you.
Ms. Jordan.
I have none, thank you.
Mr. Persons.
I have none.
Ms. Langford Fleming.
I have none.
Ms. Morgan.
I have none, thank you.
And sorry about that. And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda consent action items tonight?
I motion to approve tonight's consent items.
Do we have a second? Okay, moved by Ms. Langford Fleming and seconded by Ms. Jordan. Please record your vote. Okay, motion passes 7-0 on the consent agenda. Thank you. Moving on, is there any administrators you'd like to welcome tonight? Dr. Bernier?
Members of the board, Mr. Chair, we have one administrative appointment we'd like to recognize tonight. That is Edith Stiller, who will begin her new position as the coordinator in operations beginning tomorrow. Congratulations. Edith, there's a lot of work to do in ops, and we appreciate what you've been doing already and how you'll continue to help support that division moving forward. Thank you.
Congratulations and enjoy this night with your family. Moving on to next item O on the agenda is the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting. We'll now take a recess from the regular school board action meeting to attend to this matter. The time is 7:18 p.m. So I'm going to call at this the order of business call to order. As President of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation, I'd like to call this meeting of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation of January 23rd, 2024 to order. The time is 7:19 p.m. This evening's agenda includes public comment, 2 secretaries' recommendations, good of the order, other business, and adjournment. Directors, the President will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Ms. Jordan?
I move to adopt the agenda as written.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, the motion to adopt the agenda has been made by Ms. Jordan and seconded by Mr. Persons. This will be a roll call vote. All those in favor signifying by saying aye, yes, and those opposed, please signify by saying no, nay. Okay, first up, Ms. Giovanelli.
Yes.
Ms. Patrica.
Yes, please.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Persons.
Aye.
Ms. Langford Fleming.
Aye.
Ms. Morgan.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 7-0. Attorney Dupree Bruno, please address the matter of public comment.
At this time, Mr. President, there is no one who has signed up for public comment.
Okay. Okay, moving on to Secretary's recommendations. We will now ask Dr. Bernier for your recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. The first recommendation this evening is the approval of the minutes of the last Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting held on March 28, 2023.
Okay, directors, you've heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the minutes of the last Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting held on March 28, 2023. I will now entertain a motion. Mr. Persons?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the last leasing board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second. Morgan?
Okay, motion moved by Mr. Persons, second by Ms. Morgan. Do we have any discussion? Okay. At this moment, this will be again a roll call vote. Please, all those in favor signify by saying aye, yes. Those opposed by saying nay. First up, Ms. Giovanelli.
Yes.
Ms. Patrica.
Yes, please.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Persons.
Aye.
Ms. Langford Fleming.
Aye.
Ms. Morgan.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 7-0 on the minutes. Dr. Bernier, please state your recommendation for item 2.
The second recommendation this evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, is the approval of the organizational resolution of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation for the election of the officers.
I will now entertain a motion. Mr. Persons.
I make a motion to approve the organizational for the leasing corporation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion moved by Mr. Persons, seconded by Ms. Jordan. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, this will be again a roll call vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye, yes. Those opposed, please, by saying no or nay. Ms. Giovanelli.
Yes.
Ms. Patrica.
Yes, please.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Persons.
Aye.
Ms. Langford Fleming.
Aye.
Ms. Morgan.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 7-0. We'll now move to go to the order other business. Please note that comments may only be made in your capacity as directors or officers of the corporation. Do we have any comments, Ms. Giovanelli? Okay. Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Jordan?
I have none, thank you.
Mr. Persons?
I just have one. When they were talking about removing all the books from the teachers' libraries.
Yeah, we're on the leasing corp. Mr.
I apologize.
Any on the leasing corp?
Do you have any on the
I have
Leasing
none.
Corp?
Thank you, Mr. Persons. Ms. Langford Fleming.
I have none.
Ms. Morgan. I have none. Dr. Bernier.
No, sir.
And I have none. At this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objection, this meeting of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation is now adjourned. The time is 7:23 p.m. Okay, now we're going to move on to item R, which is public hearings. Dr. Bernier, please present your recommendation for this evening's public hearing item.
In the public hearing, item R1 is the approval to adopt new and revised board policies in compliance with the changes and related rules, regulations, and statutes to adopt best practice and promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of this adoption shall be January 24, 2024.
Okay, we'll now recess the school board meeting and open the public hearing. The time is 7:23 p.m. As indicated, the public hearing this evening is to consider Dr. Bernier's recommendations previously stated. At this time, the public will be invited to speak on this one item for public hearing. The time allotted for public comment is 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board regarding the approval to adopt the new and revised board policies in compliance with changes in related rules, regulations, and statutes to adopt best practice and promote transparency and accountability? The effective date of this adoption shall be January 24th, 2024. Okay. Starting off, we will go down to the 2000s for program. Policy 2431. Do we have anyone that wishes to make a comment on said item? Are you making comment? Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Seeing none, moving on. Chapter 5000 students. Is there anyone that wishes to make comment on the policies contained under the 5000 sections in the audience? I'm seeing none, moving on. Chapter 6000 finances. Does anyone in the crowd wish to make public comment on these policies? Seeing none, Chapter 8000 operations. Anyone in the audience wishing to make public comment on this said topic? Seeing none. Okay. Next up, any comment on the new policy, civility conduct of parents, guardians, visitors, and staffs, affecting chapters 1000, 3000, 4000, and 9000. Do we have anyone in the audience wishing to make public comment in this hearing on said items? Okay, seeing none. I will now close the public hearing and reconvene the school board meeting of January 23rd, 2024. The time is 7:25 p.m. Dr. Bernier, please restate your recommendation for this evening's public hearing item.
The public hearing item is R1, approval to adopt new and revised board policies in compliance with the changes and related rules, regulation, and statutes to adopt best practices and promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of this adoption shall be January 24, 2024.
You have heard the superintendent's recommendation that the board approve to adopt the new and revised board policies in compliance with changes in related rules, regulations, and statutes to adopt best practices and promote transparency and accountability. The effective date of this adoption shall be January 24, 2024. Board members, is there a motion to approve? Ms. Jordan.
I move to approve and adopt the new and revised board policies.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Morgan.
Okay, moved by Ms. Jordan, seconded by Ms. Morgan. Is there any discussion on these policies, board members? Okay. Seeing none, at this point, we're going to go ahead and please record your vote. There we go. Okay, motion carries 7-0. Dr. Bernier or Attorney DeBrie Bruno, is there anything you wish to address regarding the public hearing?
No, sir.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to good of the order and other business, board member comments and reports, and I promise not to mess this up this time, so we'll first go to our student representative, Mr. Williams. So please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd first like to thank you all for having me. I find this a great honor to be able to talk before the school board today. But I just had some things I'd like to say for comment and some critiques and some things I love about the school district. First, I've been a part of the school district since 2012 when I came in as a kindergartner, and I've seen that the school district has offered many opportunities for students, such as in elementary school, you have many opportunities such as Odyssey of the Mind, and you have many competitions, and as you grow up in middle school, you have more chances to have electives and have great classes that you never thought you would have based on TV programs you watch as a child. For example, when I went to Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle School, and when I was in 6th grade, I could take culinary arts, and I think that was very helpful for me. I was also able to take health classes, And I was able to take computer classes, and that really helped me because I never thought I needed to be able to type, but when I took computer classes, I was forced to type. And then coming into high school, especially into the IB program, as I am at Fort Myers High, I think it's very important. And I think those are great things that y'all have. And even as you go up into high school, many schools have academies and other programs that you're able to offer. And I think it's very important for people that may not want to go to college, but may want to be computer majors or may want to do vocational studies. Like we have the boat program at our school. I thank you for approving that, and I think it's very helpful. Another thing I would say, in the past few years, our communication with students and parents has been very helpful. There's been a lot more emails, not only to just parents, but also the students, which can show what the school district's thinking and how they're understanding, and I love the communication, even though a lot of people may not look at it, but it's very helpful. And me and many of my friends can see what you guys are thinking and what the Wellness Wednesday topic can be, like it is tomorrow. I think it's very helpful. And like District Wins and the District Hits newsletter that you hits, I always look at it because I like to see what's going on with other people, and sometimes I can see my friends that I've grown up with and see what they're doing, because sometimes you don't hear about it. And I think that's very helpful. Some things that I think could be improved, though, I would think would be foreign language education. When I was asked to do this by my assistant principal, I asked some of my friends what things they would want, and I thought about them as well as what I wanted. And one thing we could all consider is that we were all struggling in Spanish class. But I wouldn't say I'm very proficient in Spanish, but I do like it, and I think it's very important that we have it. And I think that we should extend this from just starting in middle school, because in middle school you don't have the opportunity to really get deep with it, especially because of the schedule, and it's middle school, nobody's really taking it seriously. But even in high school, you need to have a second language. I've seen studies where they say it helps your brain development and it helps you to be a critical thinker, and for certain programs you need a foreign language credit. And I think that it would be important to start this earlier, such as in elementary school. I think that would help kids to learn it, and they say it's easier to learn a foreign language when it's taught to you at an earlier age. So I don't know if that would be feasible, but I think it would be important to try and strive to bring into curriculum in elementary school. And another a point that I like to bring up is extracurricular activities, not just sports, but clubs. A lot of times, people at our school, we only have really 2 or 3 days to do clubs. Wednesday we can't do it because there's normally teacher-faculty meetings and other teacher meetings, and Fridays there's always in the fall there's a football game, and if not, then other people don't want to come up because it's Friday, everybody wants to go home. And that just leaves us with Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I can tell you Tuesday and Thursday are the busiest days of the week after school. Like today I had 3 clubs today. I had to go to a service club, I had to go to Interact Club, then I had to go to mock trial, then I had to go to band. And I think to alleviate that, just as we have Wellness Wednesdays, I think it would be useful if we had kind of a club day once every month on a specific day where we could carve out time in high schools and maybe even middle schools for people to have clubs. I know as a freshman, it's hard to get a ride, and especially my mom can attest in the audience, it's hard sometimes when you can't trust people on the road sometimes. So I'd have to ask my grandparents and other stuff, and some people, they don't have that option to secure a ride from school because we don't have activity buses in high school, and I know that's something you can't really change. But I think it would be very useful if we had some type of club allocation in school just for 30 minutes or an hour every month. And that could help people that can't go home, or if they don't have a ride home, or people that just have a very hectic schedule. We could have us as students go around and participate in various clubs throughout that time. And I think that would be very important because clubs are very vital to get in the college, and it's a very vital part of the high school curriculum. I spoke at my high school open house about extracurriculars. It is the backbone of every high school. Clubs are the most important thing that we have besides curriculum and besides what you're learning. But clubs are what bring the school into focus in the community, and clubs are also what is what makes high school enjoyable for many people. So I think having that option would be very helpful. And I thank you for listening, and that's all I have for you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. That was fantastic, and it's going to be tough for all of us to follow you after that, so thank you. So moving on to Ms. Giovanelli. Comment or for good order.
First of all, thank you. Can you stay up here? You can have my seat, actually. Mom, you should be very proud. You're an amazing young man. Thank you for that. I will be quick because we had a long day earlier. I just wanted to thank the Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Rose, the Principal and Assistant of the Year, and the Employee of the Year. It was an honor to recognize them tonight. And I just wanted to let everybody know that STEMtastics is February. This is going to be my PSA until then. But on February 10th, from 10 to 2, everybody's invited to STEMtastics at the Calusa Sound. So I know Ms. Morgan's been numerous times and Ms. Jordan, but it's a great little event to pop in for a few hours and see what the kids are up to these days. And then the very next day is the Junior Parade, which is the 11th. And then the night parade, the Grand Parade is on the 17th. At the same time as the night parade is also the Edison Fair's Science Fair and Inventors Fair, which is at FGCU this year. And so I won't be able to attend that. This will be my first year, not because it conflicts with my schedule, but so I'm hoping others can attend that. So, and I just wanted to thank everybody for the conversation today about Three Oaks. I think that was really important for me, and I think for the community, because I know processes are important, and I feel like we weren't quite transparent in some of this process of that, and in the surplus land, and then when land doesn't sell, and there's a lot more that's opened my eyes to this as well, and I think that we can do better about the processes of that, and especially when we think we've signed a contract that land's going to sell, and then when in fact deals fall through, we're not aware. So there's got to be a better accountability for that. That's going to be really important, and I'm probably going to ride you really hard on that, Dr. Bernier. But I wanted to say thank you, Dr. Bernier, for bringing it up today in the briefing. It was really important, and I really love that opportunity was there instead of having that conversation this evening, because it would have consumed our evening. So I just really want to say how appreciative I am of that, and that is really it. I do want to leave. It was mentioned, I know, I do want to say something. The bus driver mentioned something about the school board making a decision on something on how they didn't get paid, or when they're getting paid. That was not, the school board did not make that decision. So I hope that can get clarified and get a little clarity with the other bus drivers and the transportation department. And I also would like for you to talk a little more in depth this evening regarding, book banning and what Lee County is doing or not doing, because I don't believe we're banning books, and I think our process is very well thought out, and the opportunity is there for anyone that doesn't like a book. They can bring it forward, and we have a process in place that will determine if that's a book that needs to stay on the shelf or not. And I will just leave with this one little note, because something was mentioned about success of students. To me, the success of students is the success of our community. So I will strive really hard to make sure that our community will be successful, because we have great kids coming out of it, and great teachers and staff educating them. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giovanelli. Ms. Patrica?
Thank you, Chair Fisher. I will. Person at our next action meeting in 2 weeks, but I do want to say, Mr. Williams, was that our student representative's name?
Yes.
Mr. Williams for president. Thank you for being here tonight, young man. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Patrica. Ms. Jordan?
Okay, I just have a few things. Shanart, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate what your comments were, especially with the language, because all of my grandkids have been forced to take it in middle school because of their parents. So I just want you to know that. And where I came from up north, they did take it in elementary school because it was easier. So, and that's really important to get a lot of that stuff out of the way before you get to high school, so you have time for clubs. And thank you for bringing the voices of the other students to us, because that's really important for us to hear what they have to say and what you have to say. So thank you for sharing that with us. I want to apologize to Alex, Harns Marsh Middle School Principal of the Year. I was just reading it, and I just need to apologize, because in my head I knew that he was the principal, but I read teacher. So I just wanted to give him a shout out again, and I'm really excited because I did watch all of the people that we that came today and we honored. I watched their one-on-one with Rob Spicker, and it was so great. The words that they used, and when I'm listening to that, it's like, this is why they are who they are. So it made me really feel good of who we are as a district. Dr. Chapman, I hear you. I got it in my head. I got you. It's written down. So thank you for always coming, and thank you for your advocating constantly. Appreciate you. And our bus drivers, again, thank you for speaking on that, Dr. B and Ms. Giovanelli. And I just want to share real quick, yesterday I had an opportunity to go to a Cub Scout troop, Troop 3300, to speak to them because they had to speak to an elected official in order to get their badge. And the questions that they were asking is to us, and they wanted me to bring in and share, is how come they cannot have a hoodie because they're allowed to wear hats on their head out on recess? Who keeps taking our recess back? They keep eliminating it or cutting it down, and why do we only have 20 minutes to eat? So I said I would definitely bring that back to everyone, but they had a lot of questions. They wanted to know which was the most hated subject, which I could not answer that, so I asked them. I turned it back on them, which became a whole another conversation. But it was really great to be a part of that, and I invited them all to come in, and if they really want to see people in action, come to a board meeting. So that's all I have to say, and I think today we had a great meeting, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Mr. Persons.
Yes, first I want to give a shout out to Interfaith Charities down in the Estero area. They have a great food pantry, and during the summer they give out food to the children as one of our providers for the district. But then they started a story hour, reading stories to the kids, and they're coming along really, really well. And they told me to thank Dr. Benier for letting some of our staff help organize that situation. The one thing that was mentioned back, staying on reading, was that we took all the books away from the libraries of the teachers, especially the elementary teachers where the kids need the books the most. But in reality, we gave every single elementary teacher in the district 120 brand new books for their library. So I think they're okay, and then they'll be getting their books back once they've been sorted through and approved. And I know that's an ongoing process. Many already have their books back. But just wanted the public to know that that's how our district is handling that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Persons. Ms. Langford Fleming.
First of all, she's being very quiet about it, but happy birthday to our Miss Giovanelli.
Happy birthday.
She said she's not celebrating, but we're still going to make it a point to wish you a well one. I had an opportunity this week to meet one-on-one with Miss Laisha Roy. She is part of our health department. She's done such a great job with the gardens, etc., across the whole district, and she threw all these schools at me that wanted one, and she's continuing to get emails. So since I am part of the Health and Wellness Committee, I wanted to just reiterate one more time how activities and clubs such as really get kids engaged and excited. So let's continue to do so, and if there are principals or APs that want these gardens at their schools, I know that they are there to be had. You just have to reach out. Congratulations to, again, all of our award recipients tonight. And this evening, I just lost it on my screen. There it is. We approved something tonight that's sort of a partnership with the Rotary. We have, on piggyback on what you had mentioned, we have so many great organizations in Lee County that's willing to partner with the school district, and I just want to publicly say thank you for doing that. Rotary Chamber of Commerce, Pace for Girls, Community Cooperative, Valerie's House, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and I know that the district is very appreciative of all those others. I know there's many, many more. You young man are going to be incredibly successful. Are you an 11th grader?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Williams went to school with my son at Allen Park, and then they went on to Paul Lawrence Dunbar, and his favorite class was culinary. So it's funny that you brought that up. Clubs and organizations, you are spot on. Those are the things that are going to continue to keep our kids excited and engaged to come to school every day. We know we have to teach them a second language, as we should. We know we have to teach reading and science and social studies and hit those benchmarks, but to be able to have that vent and to get to know friends outside of those areas is incredibly important. So thank you for bringing that up, and I absolutely love and charge the superintendent with getting with our schools about a day of clubs. I love it. I don't know if it can be in a month, because we have a lot of stuff to cover, but maybe every quarter, a day of clubs. I love that idea. Best quote of the night: children don't care what you know until they know you care.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to put that in my office. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Langford Fleming. Ms. Morgan?
Yeah, I have several things. First of all, Finance Advisory met last week, and a couple of things came up that I wanted to bring forward. First of all, the question again about our budget documents and where they appear and how accessible they are. And the comment was made at Finance Advisory that they are part of the minutes, and I still feel strongly when you look at other school districts, they are putting financial documents out there as standalone financial documents, and I've spoken to both Dr. Bernier and Attorney Dupuy-Bruno. I think we need to do something that makes that information more accessible to the public. The other thing they brought up, because the members of the public regarding NNN, Denise Everly and some others, were at the Finance Advisory Committee meeting, and the question the committee asked was, well, don't we have a Facility Advisory Committee? And I thought, well, no, we don't. The only time facilities go before an advisory committee is EDAC. When we're acquiring or selling property. And I'm not sure that we need to create another committee, but I think given the amount of money that's being spent and the number of facilities we're involved in developing, managing, et cetera, perhaps within Finance Advisory we ought to be paying more attention to facilities. So just throwing that out there. Let's see. I'm going to ask the board to support me in my request for Gantt charts, which are project management tools for the new schools under construction: Bayshore, Cypress Lake, Franklin Park, Bonita, and NNN. I would like us to be able to see where we are with each department with respect to moving through these projects from a timeline point of view, from a responsibility and accountability point of view. I'm not sure that this is something we need long-term, but I think short-term it's important, particularly, again, given the comments that were made in the Finance Advisory Committee by the folks representing Albert. We really need to know where we are on NNN. And we need to know what we've invested in it and where we are in a timeline. So I would like to see that. I sent you all an email saying I was going to make a motion to reconsider. I've been advised by the board attorney I can't do that. So the question is, why am I making a motion to reconsider? And of course, I wrote some notes up, and now I'm going to have to enter. So the reason I wanted to bring forward a motion to reconsider was because I was led to understand that I could change my vote on the Bayshore decision, the motion that was put forward by Mr. Persons at the last meeting. I feel, and I'm going to read this so I don't get lost. In my 11 years on the board, I have only twice regretted votes that were intended to be in the best interest of students, but were made in haste. Votes that by means of their adoption undermined the leadership team and created the perception that best interest satisfied outside adopted norms are okay. One might argue the case for violating a norm for an urgent matter or an emergency situation, but that wasn't the case with respect to Bayshore. On the 6th, for the members of the public, the board took a public action on a high-profile decision that reflected poorly, in my opinion, on our integrity as a leadership team. A decision that I will propose we discuss in master board training as an opportunity to consider how we are performing as an effective board and high-performing board. First, the board sought to override a recommendation of the superintendent during an action meeting, legally permissible, but incredibly poor judgment and execution, especially given absent prior notice to board members and the superintendent. The board then proceeded to direct the superintendent and staff to provide information on the fly for an amendment to the recommendation, a reasonable request for adequate time to prepare a well-considered response. The board request was denied. I saw an undeserved rebuke of the superintendent, an unprecedented board attempt to insert itself in operational and finance processes, and capricious statements about district planning and management execution. Secondly, the board took a major decision for an issue in violation of its protocol, a protocol that suggested 1 day's notice, giving board and staff adequate notice of the board member intent to recommend an action for board approval and staff action. Though it was argued that the matter was urgent, in fact it was not, as was made clear by staff responses to questions about the timeliness of implementing change. Instead, we acted not as a deliberative body we pledged to be, but acted rashly, using children's best interests as the excuse. Children's best interests that could has easily been met by postponing action to a subsequent meeting as requested by 2 board members and really needed by staff. The board is supposed to be the district leadership exemplar. Leaders below us in the organization watch how we conduct our business and make decisions. When we excuse violations of our own protocol, we lower expectations of those watching us who see high-quality decision-making processes willfully violated. When they watch us use specious reasoning for violating our protocol, we are seen as unaccountable for meeting our own expectations. Good decisions can come from good governance and bad governance decision. The latter bodes ill for future decision making. And I say all of this knowing perfectly well we would have made exactly the same decision 2 weeks later, and there would have been no issue other than the fact that we were facing a significant number of parents that evening. When we did master board training, we were rightly proud of where we registered on the spectrum of board performance, closer to norming than storming. We no longer, in my opinion, enjoy a common mutual understanding of our work as a governance team. So therefore, we need to have an honest conversation about our deliberation on the Bayshore motions, and I ask that we in our next master board training review our actions in this case. And those are my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Sorry, he was falling under. Mr. Stevens, I think everyone, as I said, has said it all. I mean, we've kind of joked that maybe perhaps you could be a future school board member or even superintendent. So what you said we really appreciate, was very thoughtful and was very deliberate. So thank you for that. So the only thing I'm going to ask you, as I ask every other student up here, when you complete your education, come back to Lee County, okay? Come back. So we need you. But no, thank you very much, and best of luck, you know, the remaining this year and next year. So thank you so much on that. A couple brief things I just wanted to address. When able to get to this in the briefing, Mr. Persons had indicated talking about looking at FAST data and parents. I do want to give a shout out to the district. When my daughters took PM2 recently, I want to say the data I had, I think, for each test, the end of the day, it was fantastic. So, kudos to the district on that. So that really, you know, as well as working the state. So that was, the response on that was fantastic. So I appreciate that, and they've kept us up to date on that. So I just wanted to note that. So it's working. Ms. Juvenelli, Ms. Jordan, and Ms. Persons, I went up to Tallahassee last week. It feels like ages ago, but it wasn't. So we went up for the FSBA conference. We all had some fantastic conversations with legislators, with staff members, people from the governor's office. So, and we went around and talked to various people throughout the Capitol. So it was a very good meetings, very productive. Obviously, one of the biggest issues right now, I feel, is obviously that we've talked about is deregulation. So Senate is full steam on ahead of that. House is still working on a couple things, as well as the governor's office. So I do expect positive progress on that. But the one thing I wanted to note to all of you, and we've kind of talked about it up there. So one of the issues we're encountering in regards to, and FSBA knows this as well with deregulation, is there is another side of the argument that people are saying that we're taking away accountability. We're not taking away accountability. So when we're speaking to people, and I've tried to do this myself, make sure we're reinforcing that, yes, we're cutting the red tape, but we are keeping accountability. So that's vitally important to make sure we get that across in that message. So I believe I'm probably taking this away from Dr. Bernier. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow at our first parent university at Pelican at 5:30 tomorrow. I know you can go into that more. Looking forward to that. The last thing I wanted to mention is from Drug Free Lee, the committee I'm on, two things. We have our run for prevention this Saturday, and there's still time to sign up, as well as you also got a general invite for Drug House Odyssey. I went to that last year. I'd truly encourage my board members to go check it out. It's a fantastic experience, and our law enforcement and drug-free community does a great job with that. So that's all I have. Next on, we have Attorney Dupree Bruno for comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Williams, is it my understanding that you want to go to law school?
Yes, ma'am.
That's music to my ears, because clearly you're on your way and you're going to do great things. So I just want to share a quote from one of my biggest idols. None of us got where we are solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We got there because somebody, a parent, a teacher, an Ivy League crony, or others bent down and helped us pick up our bootstraps. I know you're going to make it and you're going to arrive. Just as you get there, don't forget to help somebody else with their bootstraps.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Attorney Dupree Bruno. Dr. Bernier.
Mr. Williams, what an amazing student representative you turned out to be this evening. I really, really appreciate it. And I guess what I really want to say is thank you for your voice. And the other individuals that you represent, there's a couple of themes in my comments tonight. This is one of them. You represent the voice of our students. And you may be one individual sitting there, but it was very clear in your comments you're being representative of a larger group, and one that we need to continue to make sure we listen to, and then not just listen, but then act upon what we hear. I will tell you that I think our comms team is smiling. They have found someone who is willing to read, watch, and listen to all that they put out. I'm sure it's very refreshing. I didn't hear a cheer in the back room when they were working the video cameras, but I can assure you they were very excited to hear that they have found their #1 fan and the person willing to plow through all the information we put out there. And thank you for recognizing their hard work. I think also you raise a very important thing that we talked about this afternoon that you may or may not heard about. When you think about keeping freshmen on track, I think the most important thing our community needs to understand is the research is clear that an incoming freshman with great grades and great test scores is just at risk of not graduating from high school as a student who arrives without all that material if they don't make a connection in their school. And it's the clubs and the activities that allow them to make connections. You with the band, and you went down a list of clubs that you have no time to go to. I mean, you just must go in, sign the sheet, and move on to the next one. You may be ready to be superintendent. We do some of the same things. And to the board, I'll check on instructional minutes. We have the shortest amount of instructional minutes of the school districts in the state of Florida, but we certainly can look and see what we can do to try to make one young man's dream become a reality. So thank you. I will add to Mr. Bruno's comments to you. Keep in mind the shoulders on which you stand upon. There's lots of people that came before you who have supported you and your ability to move forward to law school. And as the father of a Gator, not necessarily a Gator fan, but the father of a Gator, congratulations for your goal to go to the University of Florida. You'll do very well there. To some of the board member comments this evening, financial document website, I have meetings with some individuals responsible for making sure we can get our documents out there. We've had some initial meetings. We need a place for those documents to land. We will finalize that work and get back with you. Backwards planning in terms of our construction process. I know Mr. Stevens is tired of hearing me talk about backwards planning. That means beginning with the end in mind. If we want to open up Franklin Park in August of 2024, I want to make sure I got the date right. You have to backwards plan that all the way to our first step in a procurement process. Gantt charts will help us do that, and I will work with Mr. Stevens to make that happen. NNN Phase 1, I believe I gave an update regarding NNN Phase 1, that it's underway and where we are. I will make sure that if not, I did not send it to all board members, I will. Phase 1 gets us to a guaranteed maximum price. We are processing through that, and we will have more information for you as we gather more information ourselves. Right now, what I do know is towards what we're sure of in Phase 1 is that our site is amenable to both locations of the middle and high school on that piece of property, and there are very limited environmental concerns regarding those locations of the building. I know there are some community concerns, and I don't want to downplay those. I just want to give you a clear update of where we are now. Mr. Persons, thank you for reminding all of us that we bought classroom libraries. And to Ms. Giovanelli's comment, we don't ban books in Lee County. We have a challenge process by which someone can challenge a piece of literature or something in our media centers or a classroom library and have our team look at it. I remind all of us of the importance as we move into this next year's hiring season, the importance of our principals being asked to try to find licensed media specialists to join them in their media centers. We don't have enough media specialists to plow through the books that many of the individuals are talking about today, and it's that lack of manpower that we are striving to overcome. So we will continue to do that work. I'll go briefly through the employee recognitions as a celebration of those individuals. No question about it. They all deserve the recognition that they got this evening, but they're an example of all the others who do that similar work, whether it's a support professional, paraprofessional, teacher, principal, bus driver, whoever seems to be the lucky one to stand out above to become the person of the year. I think it's not lost on any one of those individuals how representative they are of the greater class of employees that they represent. And I can't think of better representatives for this district to move on in the state competition to see how far we get. I can't go through tonight without talking about the graduation rate. We talked about it a lot today, but I think we missed something. In 1 year, we've matched the highest graduation rate ever post-pandemic and ever pre-pandemic. The only graduation rate that was higher in the history of Lee County was the graduation rate where all of the state requirements for graduation were eliminated. We are back to the highest point this district has ever been. And while 85.1 is no cause to rain down the balloons and the confetti, it is a reason to celebrate the hard work of our individuals who got us there, and know that that's not our end goal, but it's the launching pad to all children graduating, both college and career ready. So more to come, and thank you for your very clear attention to that. I don't get you all together very often. There were multiple questions about a CTE grant, an announcement from the Commissioner of Education regarding CTE. I want you to know that there were several windows which our CTE team could apply. There was a first, second, and third window. Our team applied in the second window. There is approximately $100 million in that grant opportunity, and the first round has awarded about 55 million of it. There is another round of awards coming. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Our CTE team does great work, and their grant is in. You've approved it, so now it's a matter of knowing whether we judged and whether we get money. We'll keep you apprised. Fort Myers Beach Elementary, not just the International Rotary, which you approved tonight for their grant of $230,000 to help with STEM initiatives out at the beach, but there was a recent fundraiser held over at Bell Tower, where Leadership Lee, which is part of the Southwest Florida Chamber of Commerce, another group that deserves recognition, raised over $16,000 for the beach school as well. So looking forward to seeing how that school building and how those children can recover and work forward. I will tell you that Dr. Desamore and I are also working on a per student cost analysis based upon our 3 barrier island schools at this point. So we'll be sharing that with you coming. Thank you tonight for the 3 Oaks approval. I believe consistency in our planning and communication is critical. I want to thank you, though, for allowing the appointment of Dr. Adam Malloy to the planning team, somebody who now can be central, stable, and help that planning division become the division that you want as a school board. Finally, not finally, second to last item, Adam Lane. Adam Lane you saw at one of our most recent Florida School Board Association conferences. I'm pleased to announce that it'll be coming March 7th of 2024. That'll be about the time our principals and leaders are facing a surplus list recruitment and that process, and some of his strategies and other things will be helpful. We'll make sure you get an invitation through Lynn Harrell to attend that. Finally, we've had some news in the community, and I just want to try to address it a little bit tonight regarding some upcoming board policies. As many of you already know, although the school board has guides and policies, we are in the midst of updating board policies governing political activity, the use of personal property on school grounds, and other related matters. These revisions were pre-briefed earlier today, and they are scheduled for a first reading on February 6th and a public hearing on the 21st. This will help ensure compliance with the district and board's expectations as to politics, religion, social movements, and ethics in the classroom, as well as it should help us reach our goal for classrooms to be viewpoint neutral. So I want you to be aware that we are working through those policies. You did some of the work today, and I want our community to understand, especially about some particular issues, that the board is aware and is working to make the necessary corrections to the policies, which would put the superintendent and his staff in a better position. So thank you very much, and thank you again for your work this evening.
Mr. Chairman? I quoted somebody, but I didn't say who I quoted. So I just wanted you to know I was quoting the Honorable Associate Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the proper attribution. Thank you, Dr. Bernier. Next scheduled meetings on Tuesday, February 6th, there'll be a school board workshop at 12 p.m., a school board briefing at 2:30 p.m., followed by a school board action meeting at 6 p.m. We all have to eat our Wheaties that day, it looks like. So, at this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objection, this meeting is adjourned. The time is 8:05 p.m. Everyone have a great evening.